Hello and welcome to a current commentary live stream about the coronavirus. Just like the media, I have been roped into talking about the coronavirus. However, I plan to not be all that I watch all week. For whenever I've turned on the news over the weekend, that's all that would appear was things about the coronavirus, as if the apocalypse was coming or the Black Death was on our streets. So, is this problematic? Is this the end of the world? And is the UK government acting even reasonably? So, first off, evening Sky Echo 7. Sorry for your. Thank you for viewing and for commenting. Your engagement is much appreciated. So, let's just. There we go. Screen share. I have here some data. This data comes from a mixture of the NHS website for the UK statistics and the coronavirus live stream, which has been going on for some time, and as far as I'm aware, has reasonably accurate. It only deviates occasionally by small amounts from the NHS official figures, except it is taking ages to load, and it shows the data from multiple different countries. So, what the media seems to forget to mention is this column D. So, column D is the percentage of the population that have the virus. As you can see, it's very low. If you look at ICE, this table is organized so that those with the highest proportion of the population have at the top and the low proportion at the bottom. So at the height is Iceland with 0.05% of the population. And then we've got Italy, Switzerland, Norway, so on, with the UK and the US quite far to the bottom, and the USA with not even. Can I get the exact number? No, okay. I might get the exact number later, but it's not a difficult sum to do. The numbers in red are those where more people have died than have recovered. This could be due to the variation in this could be due to different economic development, and therefore a different healthcare system that they're able to support, or it could be down to how long they've all been infected for. So the column F, this is death rate of completed cases. I've been feeling it's quite disingenuous to have the death rate as the percentage, well, as the people who have died divided by the people who have had it, as people who have it at the moment might die tomorrow or 2 or 3 days later. So this is where you compare where it's the people who have died divided by the sum of people who have died and those who have recovered. So if you look at Italy, for example, this figure is 44%. But you look at somewhere like South Korea, had it for a long time, there's only 7%. This would suggest that places like Korea, China, Japan, Iceland, although they've got such a low sample and their population is so small, it's quite hard to tell, as they only have one person who has recovered, but no one has died yet. As a proportion of the population, Iceland actually is worst affected, followed by that's total cases. Anyway, yeah, France actually, if you go this proportion of completed cases, is the worst affected. You've got Sweden, Belgium, and Switzerland, not too far behind. And the UK is at the high end, below the Nordic countries, above the USA and Italy, which Italy, quite worryingly, we keep hearing stories about medical professionals having to make choices of who of those in critical care get the life support systems, and Italy has far more life support systems per capita than the UK. So I think they're about 2 or 3 times as high as the UK. Germany, it's only double. South Korea is quite low, so the Asians doing well. And the death rate, this is just the standard number of people who've died divided by the people who've had it. And so you've got Italy's very high, Iran, China, Spain, and so on. France is stonkingly high. So, but now for the UK. Let's look in detail at the UK, how the trend has changed over time. So I've only been tracking this since the 4th of March because it was the weekend and heard on the radio there was X amount of people with it, and then, I looked online, sorry, X amount of people, and then I heard on the radio later that evening that it was a significant amount more, and so on. And this made me quite worried. And then by the end of the weekend, it was way up at 200 odd people. So I've been tracking it ever since. And initially, around the early days, it was 30 odd percent, sometimes reaching close to 40. There was a dip during the midweek. It started climbing again shortly after the government announcement. But this weekend, there's been a sharp drop. And one of the things we've been hearing about quite frequently is that you're contagious for quite a few days, possibly about 4 or 5 days before you actually show symptoms. And so there are people who have the virus who aren't appearing in the figures yet. And so this drop could actually be the change in government policies going into effect and stemming the flow. Saying that, the mean growth rate is still about 27% every day. So that's roughly halfway between a quarter and a third more people every day. But this weekend, it seems to have gone down to only about 20%. So that's a fifth extra, which is good, which could actually be suggesting the government's idea of, rather than trying to stop the spread in its tracks, just slow it down to a point where our health service can handle things, might actually be working. But our death rate does seem higher than many other countries for the same ballpark of cases. And the media talks about nothing other than the coronavirus, but 0.002% of the population have the virus in the UK. Even Iceland, the worst hit, only has 0.05 cases. And in the UK, there are 3.6 millionaires. So yes, this is including those with who have bought property that has increased to a value of £1 million, but there is 3.6 million households in the UK with over £1 million that they can either have in liquid assets or in cash. Sorry. in assets or in cash. Thank you for watching and listening. I've been the current commenter, and hopefully see you soon. Aha! I've just got some advice from Sky Echo. Need to zoom in a bit. But unfortunately, I wasn't looking at the window at the time. Thank you. I'll bear that in mind. So for any future viewers, as all my live stream viewers have gone, where's the zoom button? Zoom, there we go. There we go. So we've got 3.6 million people in the UK have over £1 million or property of that value, but 0.02% of the population have coronavirus, and only 1,500 seem to have it, according to the official figures. There's been a drop-off in the last weekend, and we're relatively middle of the road, but compared to previous years, previous weeks, we have overtaken the Nordic countries, who were ahead of us in terms of absolute cases, and our rate of spread has been much faster. The other possible cause for this drop isn't that less people have it and that it's growing slower, but due to people being advised to self-isolate and only call 111 if things are serious, rather than I suspect I might have it, I'm isolating, call 111 to seek advice. Now that not everyone's calling 111, it might be artificially lowering the figures. But things are certainly better in the UK than in Italy, France, Germany, or Spain. Bulgaria, interestingly, is in shutdown the schools. Their public service announcements are all about, don't worry, we have enough food, stockpile as much as you want. If you stockpile, it means we won't have to type attitude. Don't worry, we've got enough food to last 2 years. Interestingly, if you go into a Bulgarian grandmother's basement, you'll tend to find lots and lots of food stored there. They seem to be stocking up for this eventuality ever since the Soviets left, and they've had food to stock up with. So, thank you very much, and goodbye, once I work out how to operate this. Hope you enjoy your week. Wash your hands, stay safe, and don't panic. Everything is going to be okay. But as I suspected, many of the human factors have escalated and are going to be more dangerous than the actual disease. Goodbye and good night.